Good morning, friends. Welcome to day 18 of Put God First, 633. It's a reminder you can follow all of these past days on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, and of course on Facebook here on my own page. Today we're looking at the YouVersion verse of the day, from Psalms chapter 139. It is verse 10, but I'm going to start from verse 7 to give us a little bit of the context. You see, no verse in the Bible is isolated to just its own self. Every verse has a verse before it or after it that is feeding into it and giving it context. And so this is a psalm of King David. He's exploring God's omnipresence and realizing that everywhere he goes, if he is right with God, he can find God's presence. And so there's times that are very difficult in our lives where it feels like God is not there, where we are alone, where we are by ourselves, and it feels like God has forgotten us, that God has left us. But when we look back, we can see that God's hand was always with us, guiding us. So Psalms 139, verse 7 says, "Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost part of the sea," here's our verse of the day, verse 10, "even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me." Heaven, hell, the grave, death, the uttermost part of the sea, even there shalt thou hold me. I don't always plan what I'm wearing to the my message, but I notice that I'm wearing my Carnival Cruise Line sweater right now, and it says the uttermost part of the sea. Sometimes I go out on the boat by myself and at night, and I'm looking out there, and this ship that is enormous, gigantic, holding 4 or 5, 6,000 people on there, looks like a little city. And I look at the vastness of the water, and then the boat seems tiny, minuscule, because the ocean is so vast, so grand, bigger than, continents. And there we are, a tiny little speck in the water. And yet, even there in the uttermost parts of the sea, thy hand shall lead me, thy right hand shall hold me. You are never forgotten by God. You are never lost to his eyes, to his concern, to his care. Jesus Christ is all-knowing. He is omnipresent. Wherever you are at, he is as close as the mention of his name. If you call on him, he will be there. When it says in verse 10, "And even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me," it is telling us that the power of God will be present in our lives. If you need a miracle, God is there. Now, God does things according to his sovereign will and his omniscient knowledge for us, but God is there. If you are in a courtroom, God is there. If you are in a hospital room, God is there. If you are at your job, with your family, at school, in a pleasant or difficult situation, God is there because he loves you. Max Lucado once wrote something akin to this where he said, God is always watching you. And usually parents would say that to scare their kids, to say, like, you better mind your manners, you better behave because God is watching you. Max Lucado wrote, God's not watching you so that he can get after you. God is watching you because he loves you so much, he cannot keep his eyes off of you. And I believe that is a better reflection and a better understanding of God's love and watching over us. He's not trying to see when you make a mistake so he can tell you, stop that, don't do that, thou shalt not. God's looking at you because he loves you and he cares about you. And so it doesn't matter where you're at or what you're doing, the Lord loves you. May God bless you today. May you put God first. May you remember that whether you are in heaven or in hell or in the uttermost part of the sea, God is with you and he is holding you up. You're not going to drown. You're not going to be destroyed. If you stay faithful to the Lord, God will see you through. God bless you today and have a great day.